They say fear sells, and nowhere is that truer than at the repair shop. From fake emergencies to exaggerated wear, mechanics have perfected the art of urgency. Today, we're exposing 9 of the most effective tricks they use to make you believe your car is falling apart when it's perfectly fine. By the end, you'll recognize every pressure tactic, know the proof to ask for, and never panic over a so-called life or death repair again. Number 1. Unnecessary part replacement. A driver drops off their car for a quick oil change and gets a call an hour later. The mechanic says the air filter, battery, and spark plugs are about to fail. It sounds urgent, but often it's not. Some shops pull out a dusty filter or corroded plug just to prove their point, even if it's still within normal limits. An air filter usually lasts 15,000 to 30,000 miles and still works fine if light passes through it. Spark plugs can last 30,000 miles for standard versions or over 100,000 for iridium ones. When a mechanic warns that something's almost gone, ask for exact readings, mileage, thickness, or test results. You can even take photos of parts before service to compare later. With this habit, that vague warning starts losing its bite. Knowing the actual specs turns urgent repairs into informed choices, not emotional reactions. Number 2. Overcharging for labor. Why does a 1-hour repair sometimes appear on your bill as 3? The answer hides in something called book time. Repair manuals assign standard labor hours for each task, but those numbers often don't match reality. An alternator replacement, for example, might be listed as a 2-hour job even though an experienced technician can do it in 1. The result? You're paying for time that was never spent. Shops justify it as industry standard, yet it quietly turns skill into profit. Online tools like RepairPal and Your Mechanic show real-world averages for labor costs in your area, making it easy to spot inflated estimates. Checking those numbers before agreeing to any work gives you instant negotiation leverage. Always request a written estimate that itemizes every hour of labor. When it's on paper, a shop can't legally slide in hidden overages or extra hours after the fact. It locks the price where it belongs. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Number 3. OEM price aftermarket parts. Are you really paying for factory parts or just the factory price tag? Some repair shops quietly blur that line. They'll bill you for premium OEM components, those made by your car's manufacturer, then install cheaper aftermarket versions instead. The catch is that high-quality aftermarket parts often perform just as well. Studies from Napa show that 89% of them match OEM performance at roughly 30 to 50% lower cost. Take a simple example: a Honda Civic oxygen sensor. The OEM version runs about $250, while a reputable aftermarket replacement costs around $75 and meets the same emission standards. The savings are real, but only if you get what you're paying for. Always check your invoice for part brands and request the original packaging. This small step confirms authenticity and exposes any quiet swaps behind the counter. Shops notice immediately when a customer tracks details. That's usually the end of this overpriced trick. Number 4. Mystery fees. You pick up your car, glance at the receipt, and there it is, an extra $50 listed as a shop supply fee or miscellaneous disposal charge. No explanation, no breakdown, just more confusion. These vague add-ons often appear across multiple repair bills and are rarely regulated. Some shops treat them like profit padding instead of true costs. Legitimate fees like recycling oil or disposing of coolant should always be itemized and tied to the work performed. A generic lump sum charge is not the same thing. Consumer protection laws actually require that all repair costs be clearly disclosed in writing before any work begins. If that didn't happen, you're not obliged to accept unexplained totals. By asking for full itemization, you can cut roughly 5 to 10% from inflated invoices. The rule is simple. If a charge can't be clearly described, it probably doesn't belong on your bill at all. Number 5. Double diagnostics charge. Why did one light on your dash cost you 2 diagnostic fees? Some shops run the same test twice, once to find the problem and again when they fix it, charging for both. The issue is that diagnostic codes are meant to identify the fault once. Repeating that process during the same visit doesn't make sense, but it quietly doubles the bill. A common code, P0455, often just means a loose gas cap, yet many drivers have paid for full diagnostic scans and follow-ups when tightening the cap would solve it. Buying a basic OBD2 scanner for around $20 lets you check codes yourself before stepping into a shop. By knowing the code, you can research what it means, estimate the real repair cost, and avoid paying for a repeat test. When the shop knows you understand diagnostics, the opportunity for extra billing disappears. Clear, itemized labor time protects you from paying twice for one inspection. Number 6. No old parts shown. What happens to the parts you supposedly paid to replace? Too often, they vanish without a trace. Some shops claim to install new components, then quietly dispose of the old ones, or never change them at all. One driver found this out after paying $600 for a timing belt replacement. A later inspection revealed the cracked original belt was still sitting in the engine bay, untouched. That's a textbook phantom repair. A reputable garage will always offer to show or return your old parts after the job. Many will even bag them up and leave them in your trunk for easy verification. Taking clear photos of your engine or major parts before service adds another layer of protection. When you ask politely but firmly to see what was removed, dishonest shops back off. Evidence keeps everyone honest, turning vague claims into visible truth. And that's what confirms real work was done. Number 7. Tire and brake upsell. Why do urgent brake or tire warnings seem to appear right before a holiday road trip? Timing isn't a coincidence, it's strategy. Mechanics know that fear of breaking down far from home makes drivers say yes to any repair that sounds even slightly risky. The most common pitch targets your brakes. A technician might claim your pads are dangerously thin at 5 millimeters, but the real safe limit is closer to 3 millimeters. That 2 millimeter gap can mean months of additional use. AAA and other consumer groups have reported that these upsells spike before major travel periods. One customer even paid hundreds for a replacement when their pad still measured 4 millimeters thick, well above the limit. Getting a second opinion or asking to see the measurement with a gauge turns fear into evidence. When you rely on actual specifications instead of emotion, panic gives way to confidence. The strongest brake against pressure is measurement itself. Number 8. Fake fluid flush. A technician dips a test strip into your car's fluid, frowns, and says it's turning to sludge. That line is designed to trigger worry and open your wallet. The so-called emergency flush scam relies on pseudo-scientific visuals like murky samples or color charts to justify $100 to $300 services you don't actually need. Here's the truth. Most major fluids, coolant, transmission, even power steering, are engineered to last 50,000 to 100,000 miles. Mechanics who recommend early flushes around 30,000 miles are often selling anxiety, not maintenance. Those test strips? They mean almost nothing without lab verification and manufacturer data. Your owner's manual is the only authority that matters. It lists exact service intervals for every fluid in your car. When you cross-check recommendations against that schedule, you expose the false urgency instantly. Understanding those mileage thresholds turns fear into confidence, making knowledge your quickest defense against this expensive upsell. Number 9. Warranty bait and switch. Did your dealer ever warn that using an independent mechanic would void your warranty? That's a scare tactic, not a fact. Dealers use it to keep you paying their higher service rates, but federal law says otherwise. The Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act protects you from that threat, making it illegal for a manufacturer to cancel coverage just because you chose a different shop or opted for aftermarket parts. They can only deny a claim if they prove that the outside service directly caused the damage being repaired. Independent garages and high-quality aftermarket components usually meet or exceed factory standards, so your warranty stays intact. What matters is documentation. Keep every receipt, note the mileage and service date, and hang on to photos or part boxes. Those records show proper maintenance if a dispute arises. When you understand your rights, the dealership's final scare tactic loses its power, and your freedom to choose becomes absolute. Fear sells car repairs more effectively than actual failure ever could. Many of the so-called emergencies exposed here rely on panic, not proof. The best defense is verification. Measurements, documentation, and clear explanations from anyone touching your car. Question costs, compare quotes, and demand details until everything adds up. If a mechanic can't explain a repair in plain language, get a second opinion before spending a cent. Knowledge and curiosity are stronger than any sales pitch. The real repair doesn't begin when you hand over your keys. It begins when you stop believing every emergency story you're told.